Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. I am Shara Goswick, your host, and I realized the other day that I don't say my name. I don't know that I've said it hardly on any episodes. My name is all over everything else, all my graphics and pages and stuff, but I don't know why I don't say my name. I guess I assume you know it's me. Nobody else is ever going to do this but me. So, yes, I am Shara Goswick, your host. It's been a while since it's been just me. And I had a little bit of a blip in scheduling, and so I decided to just go ahead and do one myself. I have an interview this week, but I will not have time this weekend probably to edit. So I'm going to get a little bit ahead of the game and go ahead and record one myself. You know, I'm thankful. I have had a really steady flow of guests. I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for the people that say yes, that are willing to talk to me and talk about their book or their organization or the things that they're doing to help other people. I've gotten involved in Podmatch, which has been tremendously helpful. I've found lots of guests there, but you know, if you are someone who has a skill or has an organization or has written a book or done something where you want to be on podcasts, you want to be a guest on podcasts, you need to sign up for Podmatch. And I'm not sponsored by them. They're not giving me any money to say this. I just believe in this company so much. Not only is it a great way to be a guest, or if you're a podcast host, it's a great way to find guests, but also they have so many resources to help you in improving your work, in knowing how to do things better, which, I mean, I need help every day with this. So I've loved being a part of that. They're very responsive. So when you have questions, they're very kind and they respond quickly. I've had guests on my podcast that I have found on Podmatch. And they always say when you post an episode and that was a guest that you had on Podmatch to tag them and that they will share it. And they do. They always respond. They're very helpful. So anyway, they didn't ask me to say that. I believe in that company so much that I'm encouraging people to do that. But that is something that has happened since the last time I've done an episode myself, which I know you didn't ask for that, but oh well, that was free. So I want to talk about today. I was sitting in my office. I rearranged my bookshelves this weekend because I really, really want built-in bookshelves, and it's a matter of having people come out and give us bids and getting it done, and it just hasn't happened yet. And I started thinking about, what if I never get my bookshelves? I mean, I have dreamed about these bookshelves. I know what I want it to look like, but what if we have bids that come out here that are way more than we can spend right now? What if I am stuck with the 2 bookshelves that we bought online that, I mean, they work. I don't have any room left, but they work. They do what they're supposed to do. But what if I don't ever get those bookshelves? And then I started thinking about, what if a lot of things don't happen? What if these prayers that I've prayed for years, what if they never are answered? Or they're not answered the way I want them to be? What if, you know, we have a struggle in our life, or we have something that we really wish God would change and He doesn't ever change it? What if those things never happen the way we want them to? The question I ask myself is, will I continue to do what I'm called to do if these things that I want to see happen never happen? Will I continue to do this podcast every week? Will I continue to do what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing right now if nothing changes? If my life stays exactly the same every day for the rest of my days on this earth, will I continue to do what I'm supposed to do? Will I continue to be who I'm called to be? If certain things don't get better or don't improve or don't look like they're ever going to change, will I continue to do that? I think it all comes back to, where is my foundation? Where is my hope? Where does that lie? You know, I've asked before, when we talk about how we say people are good, well, good compared to what? What is your baseline for basing actions and basing anything in this life? Mine is God. Mine is the Lord. Mine is what the Bible says. So will my hope in God disappear if nothing in my life ever changes? Will my hope in what God says to be true fade? Will my belief in Him fade if nothing ever changes? And I'm not complaining about my life. I'm very fortunate, very blessed, and very, very thankful for everything that I have. I'm not saying there's anything bad in my life, but I've been there, and I've felt hopeless, and I've felt like nothing was ever going to change. And you know what? My hope might have faded some, but God never changes. He never moves. If we ever feel like we can't hear the Lord, or like he is far away, it's not because he's moved. He hasn't moved. Even when he's silent, he hasn't moved. He's still there. And so I would like for you to ask yourself that question today. What if that thing that you have been hoping for and praying for and working at, what if it never changes? You know, there are things that we work for in this life. And yes, we are supposed to build up treasures in heaven, not on this earth. That's what the Bible says. When we die, our money and our things are not coming with us. They're staying here. So your priorities, if you're a Christian, your priorities need to be on what is eternal, not what is on this earth. And that doesn't mean we don't work hard for things. My husband has worked very, very hard in his job to be able to provide a wonderful home for us and all the things that we have. He's worked very hard for that, and that's important. Unfortunately, life costs money, and it is getting more expensive by the day. And so I'm thankful that we have the money to pay for the things that we do. There's nothing wrong with working. We're supposed to work. I'm not saying you should just sit around and pray for things to happen, and if they don't, get upset about it. I'm saying we've got to look at our priorities and yes, work for those things, and yes, pray for things. But what if they never happen? What if they never change? How are we going to live our lives? Is that going to be our whole focus? That all we think about is this thing that needs to change. All we focus on, all we can think about is, when is this ever going to be any different? When is it not going to be hard? If that is our focus, we are going to wear ourselves out. We're going to wear ourselves out, and we can't handle that. That's not good. I want us to ask ourselves today, what if this thing never happens? What if this thing that I'm dreaming about and hoping for and praying for, what if it never happens? Will I change who I am if it never happens? Will I stop doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing if it never happens? And how do we find rest in that? How do we find rest in, okay, what if it doesn't ever change? I think we have to come to a place where we have to be okay with it not ever changing. One time I heard Dr. Phil talk to someone, this was many years ago. He was talking to someone who I don't even know exactly. I just remember she was very afraid of something that was going to happen. And he said, okay, what if that does happen? What if it happens? And he walked her through each step of what would happen. And usually it's not nearly as bad as what we think. Usually, our greatest fears mostly don't come true. But I think in that same line of thinking, I think we need to think it out and decide, I'm going to be okay if this thing never changes. You have to decide to be okay. You can't hope that you will. You can't say you'll face it when it gets there. If you will decide today that I'm going to be okay if this doesn't change, it's going to take so much pressure off of you. It's going to take weight that you've been unnecessarily carrying off of you. And I think you'll be surprised. It doesn't mean we stop praying. It doesn't mean we stop hoping or dreaming or talking to the Lord about this situation or this thing. It doesn't mean we stop. But if we can be okay with, this may never change, it's going to take so much pressure off of us. We will be pleasantly surprised in the way our mindset and our heart changes when we can be okay with that, when we can come to that. I'm not saying give up. I'm saying being okay if this never changes. Because otherwise, if that's our focus, if that's the only thing we can think about, we're missing out. We're missing out on day-to-day things, day-to-day blessings that God has, day-to-day opportunities that He has for us, and we can't see them or take part in them because we're so focused on this other thing that's not changing. I don't know if this made any sense to anybody. I hope it did. I really just started thinking about what if today, and it's not just about bookshelves. Yes, I do want my bookshelves, but life's not about that. There are lots of other situations that I think we face, and there are things that I've been praying for years that I refuse to stop praying for, even if they never change. But I will know that I have done my part to pray, even if it never happens. God knows my heart, and He knows that I've not stopped in believing that He can. I don't know that He will, but that He can. And I believe that we'll be blessed for that. I hope that I've encouraged you today. I hope that maybe you can lay some things down that you've been carrying because it's been such a heavy burden on you, a heavy focus. Psalms 3:3 says, "But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, and the one who lifts my head high." And I hope that today you'll let him do that. As you lay those things down, not giving them up, but laying them down and trusting him, that you'll be able to look up and see some things that you've been missing. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening.